Alright, well, on the bench, this is radio 3 of 3 for Randy. He had the other two stalker radios, and this is his last one. President McKinley, the OG, the original McKinley, also known as the 101-1001. Yeah, so it's essentially the same radio, just with the president front, basically. Yeah, like 140, 142, Washington. I think we had discussed that with the first stalker he had. So this one here, he wrote, it's the third radio, it's way off frequency. So I haven't been able to use it. And what else did he write here? Well, originally he wanted to have some sort of channel expansions, but then he stated that he didn't want to do that. So basically the radio's going back to its original condition. So he has a really nice white meter in there, but the green LED is kind of taken away from that. So that's going back to its original, well, not original, not the incandescent, but it's going to a white LED, and he does want the channel display back to red. So yeah, that's basically the only thing that's going to be done as far as mods go. The radio is clarifier is still locked on this one, and he wants to keep it that way. Yeah, like I had stated, just he just wants the radio returned back to original. So this one here has already been partially recapped. Looks like somebody had done some work to it. I don't know what the reasoning behind doing some caps and not the rest of them was. But for whatever reason, it's only been partially recapped. So what's going to happen is this is getting a full recap, because that's what the customer wants, and I agree with him. Even though these are brand name caps, he just wants to start fresh. He wants all three radios, you know, starting fresh again. So, yeah, this is getting a full recap. Actually, is that missing a core there? Hold on. I was looking for like the glue, and then I noticed L20. Let's see here. Get a little flashlight here. Oh yeah, it's missing a core. L20. I wonder why. I mean, those things don't just back out. I don't know why it's missing, but, well, there you go. That's why it's off frequency. No doubt about that. So, yeah, I got plenty of cores. I'll put a core in there. Hopefully it's okay, and, you know, nothing's wrong with it. But anyway, I think I have a POTS radio that I could scavenge one from anyway, if the whole coil's bad. But, well, that explains why you're off frequency. So there's that, and then there's glue, considerable amount of glue, pretty much in all the typical spots, in between the two crystals there. There's glue. Fortunately, there's no glue on the backside, on the bottom pins of the PLL, but there is glue there, on that trimmer capacitor there, in the coil on the on the inductor on the other side. Where else? I started to remove glue like right around here, this area here, where there's all your typical spots. There's glue in the back, and then also back there under the antenna wire there. All your typical spots. So I think I'm gonna have to do the same, like I did to the other stalker. I gotta take the this VCO out. I gotta take that crystal out and clean that out properly. So yeah, there's that. So anyway, let me get to this, and yeah, we'll get this thing straightened away, and we'll do our normal quality control tests, and yeah, when you see this next, it'll be basically complete, unless there's something worthy of showing you guys. Alright, stand by. Alright, well, radio's done. Did have some issues, but it's looking good. So the blue LED channel display stayed. I know it looks purple. Always looks purple. Not sure why. Just how it comes up on the camera. But yeah, it's looking good, working good. More importantly, it's on frequency, dead on frequency actually. But it didn't come with, it didn't come easy. It was some issues with the clarifier that I can go over with you guys, and a crystal that was pretty bad. As far as you know, one of the legs was just barely hanging on. But let's go over some of the stuff here. So here's all the caps. There's the crystal, and I pulled out that crystal to remove some of the glue around it. The leg was just barely hanging on. So there's a new, you got a new 10.240 crystal right there. And then the caps, yeah, everything was recapped. Even though you guys will notice, well, those who know caps, these are really nice caps. Matsushita, Panasonic caps. But we're starting over, so yeah, I don't know, again, not to beat a dead horse, but I don't know why all the other caps weren't changed out. Other issue that this thing had was whoever did recap this, on the back side, on the foil side of this, several spots you could tell where they missed the cap but didn't go back over it. It happens, you know, sometimes you're trying to recap and you know, you're a terminal off or a leg off on something, and that's fine. The best thing to do is to remove the rest of the solder off of the terminal you missed and resolder it. You can't just, you know, you can't just touch it and then not, you know, resolder it again. And that's what happened on several parts on this, on the foil side of this radio. So I went over pretty much the whole back side of this and made sure that all the terminals were, all the legs of the components were soldered correctly. L20, you can see the core is back in it. So yeah, radio is back on frequency. But that wasn't the only issue with having this radio off frequency. So let me go over how I came about diagnosing what went wrong with this. And it all started with the service manual. This is a necessity when you're doing any sort of electronics. I prefer the books versus a online or like a PDF picture of something. Sometimes the schematics can be a little blurry or a little pixelated, and it's tough trying to follow or trying to get like a value or something on you know, one of the components. Sometimes, not always. There are good, like CB Tricks, a lot of the stuff is you know, pretty high resolution, but other stuff it's not. So I prefer to have the Sam's Photo manual, Photo Facts manual. So yeah, you can see this one does, this is 219. This is a tough one to find as well. But it does the 140, the 142 GTL, and the old school McKinley, which the three radios are pretty much the same. And as well as the Washington base. Yeah, a few others as well. Obviously the Stalker and, you know, whatnot. But anyway. So I discovered an issue, just like most times, is going through the alignment. So when I got to this step here, input the frequency counter to test point 1. So these 3 steps here. You change it to upper sideband, and then you adjust CT3, lower sideband, you adjust L19, and then AM you adjust L20. L20, you'll remember, is the core that was missing. And you adjust those for these frequencies. But if you look here, it says do you want the clarifier mid-range. So why do they want you to have it mid-range? Because if you don't have it centered, if you don't have that centered, your clarifier is going to be off center, even though your radio will be on frequency, as long as you go through the adjustment properly, it won't be centered. So they just want you to make sure that it's centered. So anyway, when I went to go center the clarifier, I noticed that no matter what mode I was in, these frequencies were not changing. So I knew something was up with the clarifier. My first thought was, alright, somebody did a clarifier mod, kind of did it half-assed and, didn't finish it or whatever, or somebody tried to return it back. So I went looking through the board and found that everything was in its place. All the voltages were correct. So I said, alright, well, let me go through the rest of the adjustment. I'll go back and figure that out. And I got this one here. Frequency counter to test point 1. They want you on channel 19, lower sideband transmitting. And you adjust VR3 for that frequency. That was dead as well. That frequency wasn't changing. So I had to kind of stop right there and figure out what was going on, because, obviously you want these things to work, because there's no use in doing a synthesizer alignment if everything is going to be off anyway. So, alright, went to the board, made sure that the clarifier circuit was properly connected, made sure the pot worked, checked all the voltages, everything seemed to be okay. So I went over to the schematic. Sorry for the shadow here, lighting is always weird. So, clarifier pot was not working. VR3 wasn't working. But when I checked all the voltages that should be there, all the voltages were changing correctly, or were correct. I went over here, checked, not that that really had much to do with it, but anyway, it's through the clarifier circuit here. I checked 11.1125 crystal, that was oscillating. But then more importantly too, L20 was adjustable, that's AM. L19 was adjustable and holding adjustment, that's for lower sideband. And then CT3, that's upper sideband adjustment, that was holding adjustment. So, and then all the voltages were correct when changing from modes. AM, switch to upper sideband, switch to lower sideband, all of these voltages were correct. So you can actually go and check point 13, 14, 15. That's what's cool about the SAMS manual, is they tell you where these voltages should be. So basically, what was happening was I was having issues from this whole area here. The rest from here on was working. So problem was somewhere over here. So, just for whatever reason, I checked D35, D36. It's a big major component. Those sometimes do go bad, especially if someone's doing like a half-assed clarifier mod. And then those checked out okay. Kind of overlooked L24. I've never had one go bad. I do tons of Washington radios and have never had them go bad. So I thought my issue here was D37. So you'll come back over here. There's D37 that I had swapped out. You can see it's got the yellow insulator over the top of it. I took that out of the parts radio. I thought that was the issue, and still no clarifier circuit was still dead. VR3 was still dead. So, when you go back here, there can't be much more. So I'm like, well, let me just take out L24, see what's going on with that, because it really can't be anything else. So sure enough, I took out L24, and this is what I found. First time for me, and like I said, I've done a ton of Washingtons and never had one of these go bad. But yeah, it was broken. L24 was open when I put it on the component tester. But I don't think it just went open on its own. So when I originally went through this radio, I found that a bunch of components were just, kind of bent back down at a 90-degree angle. There was a few transistors, a lot of the ceramic caps. In some areas here, they were just completely bent over. And that one was one of the components that was bent over that I had straightened back out. I don't know why, but it just was. And I think that, so it's right there, L24. I'm thinking that when somebody recapped this, or I don't know, whatever the reasoning was, had bent it down and broke it. And I think that's probably why this core was out on this L20 here, to try to compensate for, I don't know, maybe it being off frequency or something. But I have no explanation as to why some of these components were bent back down on the board, but they were. But fortunately, I was able to get the radio fixed, on frequency. So, with that being said, let me get the covers back on. It's completely aligned, working good. So, yeah, let me get these covers back on, and we'll do our normal tests. All right, stand by. All right, before I actually close this up, I wanted to go over something that I encounter often enough to give you guys a little tip here, and that is these side inserts on some radios. So a lot of times you're going to find that, people either screw in the screw with the strength of like 10 donkeys, or will use like a powered screwdriver or a drill, which is fine as long as you set the clutch accordingly, and that's usually all the way down at the lowest setting. But if you don't do that, chances are you're going to strip these things out, and it happens often enough. So what ends up happening is you resort to doing that, and that's using a nut cert. So while this is a good idea, I use these at work all the time, actually. But it's too late for this radio. But there's a way to go around that without drilling out and using a nut cert that size. And that is to basically take a pair of needle nose pliers, and that's what I did with this one here. Take a pair of needle nose pliers and just gently tweak that shut, and that's going to help regain some of that lost thread. Now the way these things work is, it's pretty obvious, kind of like a wall anchor. There it is. As you put the screw through, it's going to open that end up, and that's what keeps it from falling out. So you can only tweak them so far, but you can do that. Let me put this back in here. You can do that, tweak it in as far as you can, and then when it comes time to screwing it in, it's going to open up to where it needs to be, and it should hold it in place as long as you're not over cranking the screws either. They'll be okay. 9 times out of 10, you can get away with reusing that. But let's just say, it's been done before, and or they're broken, or you just can't get it to work. These nut certs are not a bad idea. So the tool looks like a well, there's different tools. The ones we have at work, they look like air rivet guns, and basically you just thread it in, drill a hole size, and it kind of will like push and pinch. This one wasn't actually done too well, but it pinches and it'll grab the wall of the sheet metal you're trying to put a nutsert in. I don't know why. I think this is like a quarter 20. I don't know why this person went this big, but they do make smaller, nutserts that you could have used, and you could have used the correct size that belongs to there. 4 millimeter, 5, 6 millimeter. There's nutserts even for 440. So they're out there. It's just a matter of doing it the right way. But like I said, it's too late for this radio. So now you're forced to use. This is what came with the radio. Now you're forced to use these gigantic quarter 20. That actually might be fine threaded, but that rare one's definitely quarter 20. So anyway, that's just a tip. Yeah, go ahead and squeeze those in first before you, before you do something like that. Another tip that I can actually tell you is to take some of your, and this is more or less like just to keep it in place. And that's to take a soft piece of solder, and what you can do is you can kind of jam it in through this side right here, and kind of like bend it over, make like an L out of it, like that. And then you cut that off. I don't have a pair of cutters here, but you cut that off, and the solder should be soft enough to conform to the threads. And that's a good, like, dirty way of keeping the screw in. That's another way. So obviously you got to be careful when you do that. You don't want just kind of make a mental note, or be aware that the solder could fall into the radio itself. Not really the best way, but it is a way of doing that. So yeah, there's a few ways of doing it without making such a huge nutsert. Hey, some people it doesn't bother you. I get it. It would bother me. I would rather have the appropriate screws, the correct screws, and then some large almost bolt. So all right, yeah, that's all I got to say about that. Alright, we're on channel 18 because every once in a while I got these high-powered stations coming in on 19, and still bleeds through, so we're one channel off. We're on 18. There's an S9. Alright, minus 70. I'm going to be using a Sonata 3 as well, so alright. It's going to get loud, but here's what it is. Minus 110. Call it minus 111. Good listening radio. Alright, well, let me get the covers back on. Top cover, I guess it's the bottom cover. And we'll do a transmit test. Alright, stand by. Alright, so it's all back together. It's a good looking radio. I like the way President and even Uniden does the front of their radios. A little bit more, I guess, like when you look at the T-Berries, you can definitely tell its age based on, the scheme, the wood and the knobs and stuff. This one here kind of, you'd never know it was from right around the same time. It's probably more of a 80s, 90s look. Yeah, my opinion anyway. But still a good looking radio. So anyway, you gotta right on the mark there. Alright, so get a dead key carrier of yeah, right around like 4 and almost 4.5. Just about 4 there on the bird. Audio. Alright. Yep, go figure. Alright, hold on. Here we go. Good looking waveform. It's gonna sound really nice. Let's do sideband. Yeah, right around the same, 13, 12, 13. It's a good looking sideband waveform. He's gonna have a good sounding radio, no doubt. Good listening, good sounding radio. All right, let's move on with our tests. Stand by. All right, we're on channel 19. Here we go. Testing. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me turn down this mic gain. How's that? Yeah, that's better. Less feedback. Yeah, all right, we got President McKinley here sounding really good. Actually, really good. Yeah, it's on frequency. We got a nice clean waveform. It's going to be sounding good on air, and sounds good on the other end. Yeah, testing. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is with the microphone all the way up to my mouth, and this is away where it's supposed to be. Yeah, this is a good sounding radio, and I'm happy that I was able to get this one fixed. All right, let's get this thing on the antenna and see what's going on. There's some real high-powered stations out there right now on channel 19. I had to turn the gain, RF gain all the way down on this one. I don't know what's going on out there, but channel 19 is usually dead around here, but today it's just bleeding through all my equipment. All right, let me get this on the antenna. All right, she's on the antenna. Let's see what's going on. Man, 19 was booming earlier.
In Hawaii? Yeah, Mobile Station, Hawaii. Doggone it, I heard you out there a few minutes ago, 32
No,
minutes
roger
ago.
that, yeah, but you need to trigger it from the radio, and you can... amplifiers, you know, they use the RF Hawaii, their signal, the RF signal coming out of the radio to trigger the amplifier to go into transmit mode. And you have an electronics amplifier that does that. You can add that outside of the amplifier if you have an Ameritron, but, you know, it's bad. I tell you what's wrong with their ways today. If your radio doesn't have it, I would consider getting a radio that does. 750 Florida, standing by.
320 Boston, Massachusetts, waving their hands. 320 Boston, Mass. Anybody got a copy on me? 320. Copy that, Florida. What's your numbers? What's your handle?
Audio. 320, 750. 750 in Florida. 199 Central Florida.
Copy that, 750. Yeah, you're coming in here pretty clear as well. You have yourself a good day, and 73s to you.
How about that 111 in Mobile? This at Texas, 199, waving a hand. Hey, Tampa, up there, 111. You making a fine trip down here to Texas on my radio? CQ calling and whatnot. Yeah, you could have done that. You could have.
I've got the biggest one that I can see. 750 Florida. 546 Minnesota City.
Stay down, Roger. Space at 199. Standing by out here. Yeah, well, see some flowers for yourself because I heard when you were trying to make that long distance connection over there on the in Arizona, you sound real good over here in Minnesota. It's the RF that goes into the amplifier. You just pull off a tiny bit of that RF with a little resistor and run that into a one transistor circuit that switches. Must be our genius channel. Whenever you start transmitting, and you know, whenever that thing picks up RF, and that transistor energizes.
I think he's talking about a keying circuit.
And when that relay has contacts that close, that is what you use to put to key the amplifier, and you can put that inside of your amplifier, and it would basically turn into the same thing. CQ, CQX 975 north of Boston. 975 north of Boston. Wave a hand.
Hey, 975, you're making a trip to Tampa, Florida. 975 from 458.
Roger on that, 458, Florida. And we appreciate the way my friends are sounding good also up here in Massachusetts.
All right, buddy. Hopefully the snow stops up there today. Hopefully you don't have any more snow. You're driving in on wet roads.
Yeah, I'm right on the ocean, so we get any snow here whatsoever. Just some rain, and the clouds move apart, and we get bright sunny skies.
No, very good, very good. Yeah, you don't need to deal with that. You have a good day up there. Take care. 73 to see you when you're at 458 Tampa.
Nah, we're back quiet, read the mail. Good.
Let's go back to AM.
The way they be having it. Something else after that. I don't
hope I got it right. I can't even repeat it again. Hey, Roger, right on, Black Smoke. That 2P is working, man. I ain't done doggone motor on 492. I'll look at my radio right there. That motor on 492. Hey, they walking and talking. Hey, Black Smoke, 2P is right back here. Charlie Brown is gone. He's playing the bushes too. I'm glad there's no snakes out there up in that bushes, so when you get to find that bushes with that fire,
Motormouth Mall. See if we can.
Afternoon, Lumberjack. Afternoon, what's happening? Not a whole lot, what's going on? Just eating a sandwich. Sounds like a big good idea. Ain't too bad. Hey,
320 Boston, Mass. Waving. 320 Boston, Massachusetts. Waving a hand. Anybody got a copy on me? 320. I was hoping to catch some of that European skip, but I think it might be too late in the day.
They're trying to teach us Spanish. There, but yeah, you're right on frequency, no problem. So I'm good up here in north part of Minnesota. World Radio 183 Arkansas Mobile. 183 showing up northern Nevada, 183-191 Mobile.
Alright, guys, I'm going to end it there. We got an awesome McKinley going back into service. Alright, Randy, there you go. There's your third radio, and you got 3 good working radios, and it's all that really matters. Alrighty. Thanks for watching.